Separated countermeasures are finally here, guys. After all these years, it's finally here. Hello, guys, once again, it's Matt. Thank you all the members and patrons. Make sure to subscribe. And today I wanted to show to you guys how to use the separated countermeasure mechanic, if you will. So what is it? Well, as you know, you can take a certain amount of countermeasures, but they are adding a way for you to actually choose between flares or chaff for you to actually deploy, okay? I don't know if it's going to be dependent on aircraft, but at least the mechanic is here. And you can have multiple buttons to fire any type of countermeasure you want, or change the mode of that type of countermeasure, and then with that fire the ones you want. I didn't decide yet what of the two I want to do, but let's take a look with the F-16AM, and it's something that will completely change the game in especially top tier metas, right? So here we are. The first thing that you need to do is go to controls, and then you're gonna add some buttons to it. You can do two things. The first one would be having one button for flares. You can just search for flare over here and have a button for the flare itself, and then of course one for chaff, a different one. Or you can have one button to fire countermeasures and then a button to switch between the flares and chaff, or both of them. Okay, so this is the two types that you can have. I will show both of them. So let's get to a test flight over here. You can choose how many flares and chaff you want in the aircraft. Okay, this will be available before the actual battle, so if you get to a battle, you can choose between these. Of course, here is in the thing of the flight mod, like the test flight, but still it is here. You can choose. So for example, I would choose, for example, like something like this: more flares than chaff. Flares are normally more used than chaff anyway, in normal circumstances at least, right? And then of course, let's take off. So, oh, I fired by mistake. I'm changing the buttons still, so it's not really good. It's just that I wanted some simple buttons for you to actually understand how it is. So we're gonna take off. Hold up. Let me just deploy those. So here we are. Okay, so the first one is having a button for chaff and one for flare. So for example, we have one for chaff. So as you see, let me change the button. See, it doesn't make any sense actually. Hold on. So for example, you can have one button for only chaff and just deploy the chaff. And see on the top left side of the screen there how it's just deploying the chaff. Okay? And then one button for flares and then just deploying flares. Which means that you can choose between the two and click one button to actually fire just the one that you want, making sure that it is in the most efficient way possible to deploy the countermeasure you need if it's a radar missile or IR missile. The other type is actually switching between the two, so for example, look like on the bottom of the screen: flare release mode, chaff release mode, flare and chaff release mode. So you can choose between the three. If I choose flare and chaff and click the button to fire countermeasure instead of the flare or chaff buttons, and it will fire both, as you see. If I choose the flare mode and click drop countermeasure, it will only fire a flare. And then, of course, if you click again and only chaff, it will fire only chaff. So making you a lot more efficient in the way that you actually deploy countermeasures in the game. So I'm gonna try to get a match, to show to you guys how you would use these things. So hold up. So here, for example, for the F-16C, you have to choose, I don't know if it's work in progress or not, but you have to choose between 120 chaff, 60-60, or 120 flare. So it's not as divided as the one in the F-16AM, but it might be just a work in progress thing. Okay, so let's try to use it in a battle to see how it works. So I'm gonna basically use the countermeasure button and be able to change between them. So as you see over here, I need to get my my buttons right, because right now I'm using C, but then C it's to look around, so I don't think it's a good button to do that. I might, I don't know, I don't remember what I use my middle mouse button, but I might be using some of the other things. But yeah, if I choose chaff and click the button, it will just drop a chaff. If I click flare and chaff, it will drop both, and if I click flare, it will drop just a flare. Okay, so it depends on what you want to use on there. Let me try to change the buttons over here a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna use that. Okay, we have some targets over there. There are some players flying around, so I'm gonna change to chaff mode. Okay, I ended up locking the target by mistake because the button is the same. But yeah, and I'm gonna fire another one there. Come on, warm the missile up. So I'm using the chaff mode. So if I fire, it's firing both. Hold up. Chaff. Okay. Now it's only firing chaff. It's good. This is good. So yeah, I can crank and just keep using chaff. As you see, it's not appearing anything, and I'm saving my flares for later, which is pretty good. I think it's pretty fun to have something like this. I've waited for this for, I gotta be honest, for a very long time. I don't know if I'm gonna have some proper combat over here, but if not, you understand how it is anyway, right? That's probably a player. The missile's missed. I'm gonna fire a missile onto him. Yeah, but this button is not really good for that. I have to still. What is this button? Oh yeah, this is go for that. Okay. Yeah, we got one by surprise. We missed 3 missiles. But yeah, if I want to, I just change it up over here. For example, let's see. This is my lock button. That's why it's not really... I need to change the buttons, but... I might just use that one, actually. I'm thinking about it right now. I mean, it's so many buttons that you just need to... like, have a whole line of thinking on how you're gonna do this. Jesus, what was that? A9. I'm gonna have the flare ready, and yeah, nobody's looking at me apparently, but yeah, you understand how it is, right? If somebody would shoot at me now with an IR missile, I prepare the mode of actually firing flare, as you see. Yeah, see how he locked onto me. I don't have an RWR warning, so I like no need to actually use a chaff, just using flares, and I can just deploy them without having too many troubles, right? Which is pretty good. Oh, come on, he missed. Bingo fuel. There we go. Using the radar to find the targets. But yeah, guys, basically this is it. I'm gonna wrap up the video, but yeah, very cool, right? You can drop chaff, you can drop flares, depending on what you actually want to do. Or both, if you don't like to actually choose. Oh my god. But yeah, guys, see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and bye. Let me know in the comments what you think about this very amazing mechanic.